afternoon, everybody. Hope you are enjoying this Labor Day holiday. My name is Crystal Holloman, a digital anchor here at News 10. But right now, we are going to take you to East Lansing, where Michigan State University head football coach Mel Tucker is addressing the media following Friday's win over Central Michigan University. The Spartans won 31-7 in the home opener, the season opener of the 2023 college football season. Let's hear what Coach Tucker has to say right now.
Crazy for this game. We expect to have a better football team this weekend. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
I was wondering what you thought of the performance of your secondary. You were starting, 3 second-year guys, I believe, and just how they held up.
Yeah, like I said, we're young, but, we're talented, and the guys are hungry, and I thought they played aggressively, tried to make some plays on the ball, and I thought they tackled well. They tackled better as the game went on, and so it was a good start for us. We still got a lot of work to do.
Mel, got the win. That's great. I'm just curious. I saw some of the players out that night celebrating. It's a good time. What's more difficult to manage, managing expectations after a win or getting your team locked back in the event of a loss?
It just depends on the player. It's we get a 24-hour rule. You can't. It's hard to win football games. I know there's a lot of teams right now that are sitting here, sitting around, 0-1, and so, if you have players that are mature and they've been there before and they understand, it's a lot easier. Some of the guys maybe haven't been there before, don't know how to handle it as well, and then it's a little more challenging. But the attitude we had today from the coaches and the players, I didn't see any complacency or everyone was locked in, and so that's not a concern of mine right now. We'll see what happens once we start putting the pads on. It's a little warm out there today, so we're going to push them hard this week, and we'll see how they react. Yep, you're welcome.
Hey, Mel, you've told us in the past about the week 1 to week 2 improvement traditionally. I'm just wondering over your career, what sort of aspects of a football team lend themselves to more of that, that are more prone to maybe making that jump versus some aspects that's like, hey, this is more of a long-term thing, and this is more maybe a short-term thing where we can see there's that week 1. Is that making any sense?
No.
Okay.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Do I make any sense? Sometimes. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. No. So things like tackling, you'll see that typically improves from because we hardly ever tackle to the ground. We had 2 scrimmages in fall camp, and that's it. We don't have any preseason games, so live tackling is kind of shaky in the first game usually, and it was for us in the first half, and it got better as the game went on. You'll see a lot of drop passes in college football in week 1. That usually improves things like that, communication issues, substitution things, patterns, getting guys on and off the field, getting guys lined up, communication with the crowds, with the the volume in the stadium and things like that. And so, those are things that, penalties, obviously, sometimes guys are, super aggressive, and get away from technique and things like that. So, assignments, you'll see a lot cleaner football as you go usually because guys start to settle down and execute and take it from the practice to the game. Sometimes guys that haven't been out there very much, for some reason when they get in the game, it's different than what we practice. And so, and that's the type of improvement we're looking to see. Yeah.
You're, of course, obviously always trying to look ahead, to the next opponent. But after what Henry was able to do with that one-handed catch, it totally ignited the whole sideline. All weekend, there were clips of it being played over and over. So how can a catch like that not re-energize a program, but kind of give you the momentum you need going into a new season?
Yeah, I think that was more for the fans than anyone else, because we see it every day in practice. When we see Malik making plays, we see Glover making plays, Trey Mosley, Tyrell, makes plays all the time. Montori is a playmaker. We have several guys. Berger's an excellent receiver out of the backfield. He had a lot of offers out of high school as a receiver, Power 5 offers. He was a 4-star. So, we've talked about Carter in preseason camp. So we knew what these guys could do. We see those types of plays often, and it was just more so for everyone else to be able to see it finally.
Oh, go ahead.
Mel, with the run game, obviously Carter had a big game. I think you guys were about maybe plus 14 from the average last year. Up front, what did you see that you liked, and what did you see that maybe needs a little bit more work?
Yeah, I saw our receivers doing a really good job blocking. I mean, I saw Gates and Glover digging guys out, and we can always get better in sustaining those blocks. Our tight ends, did a solid job for the most part, but some of those plays that were not efficient, the tight ends didn't get the job done. And then inside, just better technique overall, communication, pad level. But I saw guys finishing, playing through the whistle, being aggressive, finishing on top, finishing forward, backs were running hard. Quarterback was getting us in and out of the right plays, and so, it was a solid start for us. We knew that it was going to be tough sledding. They had a couple guys up front that were really hard to block, and they were that way on tape as well. You watch those guys against Penn State last year. I think it was 21-14 at halftime in Happy Valley. They have some good players. They play hard, so we knew it was going to be a challenge, but the guys played hard, and I thought that as the game went on, I thought our conditioning showed up, and guys were able to play hard and finish and continue to build momentum throughout the game.
It'll kind of go off of that, but you mentioned the improvements from week 1 to week 2. What were some things that you thought your team, maybe you were not pleasantly surprised with, but thought that your team did well for that week 1 start?
It wasn't anything in particular. I really liked, in terms of things maybe you don't see, like our attitude and our demeanor throughout the game, and our poise and our confidence and our patience was great. And I told our guys, I said, listen, it's going to be tough sledding. We have to stick with the process, continue to play the next play. I said, we might get booed, which we did. I said, don't worry about it. Just continue to play the next play. Just keep chopping, keep chopping. And that was the attitude of our players and our coaches the entire game. I felt really good at halftime. I told Jay Johnson, I said, I like the way Noah's playing. And we kept telling the guys, just stay with the process, keep chopping. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. We're going to wear these guys down. And then once the guys kind of got the jitters out and everyone stayed the course, we started to play better in all 3 phases. And so that's what that showed a level of maturity and a togetherness that was impressive to me as a coach.
Mel, a lot of guys had targets Friday night. Everyone wants to know who your go-to receiver is. Can it be an advantage not to have a go-to receiver and spread it around that way? And did you get a chance to watch a lot of other games over the weekend? Did you see Florida State last night?
It depends on what you call a go-to guy, or what does that mean? We told Noah to throw it to the open man. Take what the defense gives you, and so that's what we have to do. You can't try to force the ball into someone. That's like force the ball into double coverage and things like that, or force things that aren't there. So we're just, executing, running the offense. We have, like you said, we have multiple targets. We have multiple guys that can make plays. Fitzpatrick can make plays. Trey Mosley can make plays. Glover can make plays. Gates can make plays. Tyrell Henry can make plays. Berger can make plays. This goes on and on and on. We have, guys that, they can make plays. So we don't have to worry. We don't have to concern ourselves with that. Just run the offense, get the ball where it's supposed to go, execute, and just keep chopping. I did watch some games. I was happy for Keon last night. He did a really nice job.
Mel, last year you lost 2 starters in the back. You lost 2 starters in Darius and Xavier kind of in the first game. On the defensive side, you've talked about depth and just getting the guys to the games. How nice is it to kind of see that depth play out in week 1?
It's important to get the guys to the game. And so, we made a lot of changes, and I feel like they paid off. We're going to continue to work that way. I think our guys understand how important it is to practice, with a certain tempo and be under control and stay off the ground and take care of their bodies and try to make sure we can get as many guys to the game as possible. Football is a game of injuries. It's human performance. Some things you can't control. But it was good to see depth out there, be able to rotate guys, be able to rotate D linemen. I remember there was times a year ago when we had 3 D tackles rotating in, and one of them was a true freshman. And that's not that's not a winning formula. You know, when you're trying to stop teams in the Big Ten and you only got 3 defensive tackles that can play in a game, I mean, that's crazy. You know, so to be able to have, you know, 7, 8, 9 guys up front that can go in there and play for you is huge, and it makes a big difference. Like on your defense, it affects your pass defense as well. Being able to stop the run, get them the 3rd down, then get after the quarterback, rushing coverage working together. Same with the O-line. You know, same with the backs. You know, we're getting healthier at running back. We should be able to add another guy to the mix this week, hopefully. We have multiple receivers. We have a gang of tight ends that can go out there and play for us. You know, so it's you know, we have to continue along that line of, you know, staying healthy, getting guys better, improving, practicing hard, but being smart, and that'll give us the best chance.
No, over here. A couple questions. First, Nathan Carter seems like a pretty humble kid. He talked about just how emotional he was coming out of the tunnel. He took blame for like 4th and 1 failures, just one of those type of kids. I'm wondering what you see from him personally every day, if you could sort of describe who he is, and then what you saw from him in Performance 1.
Yeah, he's a great kid. He's a great teammate. He practices hard. He trains hard. He's very, very humble, hardworking. He's a pleaser. He wants to get it right. It's all about the team with him. He's a very spiritual kid, and you know, he's got very, very strong faith, and he just, you know, he's an asset. He's a great teammate, and he's the type of guy that, you know, you want on your team. You want to be able to coach guys like him. You want to have teammates like him.
What did you see from performance-wise that stood out, or where he still needs improvement, or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, he's explosive. You know, he's got good vision. He's quick. He runs hard. He keeps his feet moving on contact. He's smart. He's willing to block and pass pro and things like that. So he's just working to become an all-around player, you know, and get better. He's still a young player, and he's got a lot of upside. And you know, we're working to develop him, but you know, he's accountable, you know, which we all are or should be, need to be. You know, we're all trying to get better. The word for the day was improvement. So we talked about it in the meetings, and that's what the guys were talking about on the field today. This is just, we all just need to get better, improve in the areas, offense, defense, and special teams. We left a lot of plays on the field Friday night, and so there's a lot of room to improve. There was a ton of positives as well, and we just made sure the kids knew, you know, Nathan or whoever is like, hey, listen, there's a lot of positives, and we're going to celebrate those, and we're going to build on those, and these things that are not so good, we're going to have to clean these up if we expect to play better football, you know, this weekend. And so that was our focus. But yeah, he's a great kid, and he's just going to continue to get better because he's a worker, and he's very, very coachable. He never makes an excuse ever.
Wanted to also ask you about Alante Brown. He obviously took what looked like a pretty serious hit, and then was back in the game, and then was in street clothes. I'm wondering if you got an explanation since Friday night on sort of the decisions there to put him back in the game and then take him out.
Yeah, for me, I mean, all those decisions are all medical. If a guy plays, if he doesn't play, if he practices, he doesn't practice, it's all medical. And I don't have anything to do with those. And so they tell me a guy's up and he can go, then he'll play. If they tell me he's down, then he's out. And so that's what happened.
A couple things as well, Mel. Noah Kim has not been on that stage before. Did he have to overcome early nerves? Because he seemed to get better as the game went along. How did he grade out overall? Yeah, I mean, he did well. I mean, I'm not sure if it were nerves. I mean, he had some drops early. We had one ball that didn't look very good, and the crowd was booing, but you could see on the replay that the receiver fell down, and it was a really good ball. And it would have been right on the money. It would have hit the guy right in the face if he'd have stayed up. So, you know, obviously there were some throws that he would like to get back, but, I mean, who doesn't have those? If you watch any game this weekend, I didn't see any quarterback out there that didn't throw a bad ball or make a bad decision. So he did get better as the game went. I thought we got better around him as well, and that was good. I mean, the kid's a winner as a starter in high school, and I'm not sure what his record is, but he hasn't lost very many games. Did you have any emotions watching Keon last night?
I'm always pulling for him. I mean, I'm very close with him. I recruited him myself. I'm close with he and his family, and so I was really, really excited for him. I was really happy for him.
With
the game that you had on the defensive side and the quarterback you faced in Emmanuel, just what he was able to do in terms of shiftiness and kind of moving in the pocket and stretching things, how much does that help you for this Richmond team that has a similar quarterback? And then the following week with Penix, I mean, it seems like it's got a pretty good progression for the defense.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, quarterbacks that are mobile, you have to do a really good job with your rush. You have to be coordinated. You have to make sure that you have edges. You keep him in the pocket. If he does get out, you got to be at a second contain. You got to have scramble rules in the back end. I thought our guys did a good job with the scramble rules when he was running. There wasn't a lot of room to throw, and he ended up, had to, try to tuck it and get what he could get. But we want to keep those guys in the pocket and make them throw from the pocket the best we can. If they are on the run, we got to make them pay. We can't let guys run around. If quarterbacks are going to try to run around with the ball, everything, we have to. There's got to be a price for that.
Now, real quick, to avoid repetitive questions, anybody you want to say is out for the season, given the new injury reports, and we could skip asking you over and over about.
What are you asking me?
Anybody that's on that report last week that's out for the season,
Anybody who was on that report last week?
or anybody else you'd like to say?
You know what? I can't answer that at this time. I wish I could, but I can't. I'm sorry.
That's right. So special teams, you breaking in new punters, kickers, Tyrell taking over on punts. Just what you thought of that performance overall on Friday.
Yeah, overall in special teams, we had it was a net win in terms of yardage for us. We had more pooch punts than they had, but we're breaking in a new punter, and we actually got O'Shaughnessy punted as well. And that was good. A new kicker, both our kickers kicked, and that was good. And obviously Hank is back as our long snapper, and which we missed him dearly last year, and he was back, and that was huge. And so, and then with Tyrell, obviously as a returner, did a good job, and guys were doing a good job blocking for him. And we left some, and the special teams meeting this morning was loud, extremely loud, because we left some plays on the field, and we didn't finish some blocks, and we blew some assignments, and we had some big plays. We should have had some house calls. We should have had some big hits out there. We should have some bigger returns, and those are things we have to get cleaned up. And so, but there's a lot of positives, and that I know the kicking game, that was like a huge. I got asked that a lot in the out of season about the kicker, punter, and things like that. And so, we're still a work in progress, but we do have some guys that are very capable of getting the job done.
Mel, you've mentioned booing a couple of times. I'm curious why you thought there might be boos Friday night, and what do you generally think of that at this level?
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like very similar to pro ball, and so I don't ever want our players to be surprised. So we try to prepare them from every situation. Like during the week in practice, we meet and we say, hey, this is what you can expect. If this happens, this. If this happens, you're just going over scenarios. And we were booed last year against Minnesota after the first series. And I said, hey, guys, we could get booed tonight. I said, we'll just, stick with the process, and keep chopping and, listen to the coaches. And that's what they did. And I was really proud of them for that.
I thought there was one more. Mel, I probably will revisit this in like October, November or something. But just after one game for you guys and a weekend of watching football, and just with the new clock rules, how does that factor into game plan, strategy, and stuff like that you guys might have to look at or change or anything?
It didn't factor in very much in this last game. And like I said, it just remains to be seen like how much it does factor in. But it wasn't a factor in this game. I'm not exactly sure, how that's going to affect next week or, down the road. We'll just have to see. Did it feel like it was moving faster? No, it didn't feel like it was moving faster. I didn't notice a difference. I did not.
Mel, you always talk about playing fast and being aggressive. How do you coach to eliminate the twisting of the face mask penalties? I think there were 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you have two types of penalties, 2 categories the way we describe them. You have aggressive penalties and you have foolish penalties, like a false start or too many guys on the field. That's just dumb, right? Then you have some aggressive penalties, like it might be a bang-bang PI, or there may be a face mask where guys, he got straining, he's trying to get off a block, he reaches out, grabs a face mask, and those are things, you can clean up the aggressive penalties with technique, better technique. How do you get in a better position to begin with so you can make a better tackle and so you're not on the guy's face, and so we can clean those up. The foolish penalties, you just can't, it's just unacceptable, so we're not going to be we're coaching our players to eliminate foolish penalties. Like there's one penalty, that Harmon got. I didn't see it. I don't know what happened. So we turn that in, and we'll get the, interpretation back from the league of what did he do wrong. So we have to coach off of those. Say, hey, this is foolish. This is aggressive. How do we clean this up? But we're not trying to coach a team to be penalty free. We just want to eliminate the foolish penalties because we're going to have some aggressive penalties. If guys are playing aggressively, there's going to be some of those. There'll be some holds. There'll be some PIs. There'll be some maybe some things like that we're going to clean those up. With technique and understanding like how it affects the game. Like for example, when total was like 116 yards in like penalties with like net for us, like that we gave them 116 yards, and every 100 yards is like a touchdown, right? And so you can see like the touchdown they got was on penalties. That's how they got in that position in the first place. And so when the players, we talk to them about it, then they can actually see how it affects. We could have had a shutout, but because of these penalties, they got down there. Now it means a little bit more, and we have to eliminate those. And it's coaching, and it's also the players have to take ownership on that. You typically don't see too many that many like face mask penalties in a game, but we did. Guys are playing hard though. I can say that. I'd rather coach guys through that as opposed to coaching guys who won't hit anybody. Yeah, still trying to figure out what happened on that. So we'll see what the league says, and we'll coach them off of that.
Just one more on Alante Brown. I know he tweeted that he was all good. Have you checked in with him? Is there an update on how he feels days after, or are there any steps being taken with him going forward for him?
I don't have any updates for you right now. Maybe later in the week I might have more for you.
Do you know if he'll be in any type of like protocol or anything like that?
Like I said,
I
don't have any updates yet.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, thank you so much. Go Green. See you next time. Yep, thank you.
All right, you heard from Coach Tucker right there following Friday's win over Central Michigan University, 31-7. A lot of emotions going into that game. Nobody knew who the starting quarterback was up until they took the field. Not a solid win that a lot of Spartan fans were hoping for, but a win nonetheless, and that's all that matters in the end. Next up for the Spartans is the Richmond Spiders visiting East Lansing next Saturday, followed by Washington visiting on September 16th before Big Ten play begins. Until then, we're going to take you back to East Lansing with a look at Michigan State University, and Joy Ellis will have more from Coach Tucker later on today.